Hello, everyone. This is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast. Today, we are exploring how artificial intelligence is moving out of the lab and onto the construction side. In 2026, the competitive edge for SMEs lies in applied AI, turning complex data into faster, safer, and more profitable operation discussions. Right, joining us today is Remi Dion, co-founder and VP of Applied AI at Explore.ai, a specialist in automation and data science across logistics, finance, and energy. Remi has led over 150 successful AI projects for the industrial sector. Beyond his work at Explore AI, Remy is a prominent voice for AI adoption in Quebec as the co host of the French language podcast AI du Neuf, which focuses on specifically on how the physical economy can leverage new technologies. Under his leadership, Explore AI is revolutionizing traditional industries with tools like Estim.ai, an automated estimation platform designed for the construction world. So, before further ado, let's welcome this special guest. Remy, welcome to the podcast. Such a pleasure to have you with us.
Hi, Kripa. Thank you for having me.
Now, Remy, you founded Explore AI in 2019 in Montreal, right? With a very specific focus on applied AI for operations rather than just theoretical research. So,
Absolutely.
right, let's start the conversation by understanding what was the vision behind Explore AI and its focus on SME operations. Go ahead.
The vision came from my co-founder, Olivier Caron-Lizotte. He was working in the biotechnology sector, and he had plenty of data. And yet the industry was responding to his request for simply exploring the data set
Hmm.
with demand basically of back then $200,000 just to explore and have a look at the data. And he said, well, there's plenty of companies that have much less data than I do and that could benefit from AI. So there's clearly a gap. So his vision was to make this happen for this sector.
Wow.
Very quickly afterwards, quit
Yeah.
his company and joined on board in the first year to make this vision happen. And in the first years, and this is 6 years back, so
Hmm.
before ChatGPT, back then talking about AI meant this foreign thing that kind of was elusive and
Right.
for some people didn't work. We're thinking here of prediction, detection, and recommendations. Those are now called classical AI. Well, back then, that's what we
Hmm.
were pitching to the people, in particular in the manufacturing industry.
Very interesting. So, definitely 6 years ago, AI was definitely not a concept for the layman, right? But right now, every day we are waking up to new changes and new technology overtaking. With that in mind, when, in the recent couple of months, last 1 year, when you heard and realized that the world is moving to AI as well, did you not go like, oh, we've been working on it since so long? Like, what was the mindset?
Um, Actually, it might not have happened how you thought it would. Uh, the truth is, there was a wave of so-called expert that showed up.
Mm-hmm.
3, 4 years ago, everybody was an expert. Everybody was becoming a prompt engineer. This idea that you could use AI, and AI became this term associated with large language models and ChatGPT and Claude and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So what we used to do lost a bit of its gloss, and what people were expecting of AI, which was mostly conversational, was
Mm-hmm.
reduced to almost a chatbot. So we had this period of time where a lot of people were questioning what's really AI, and because of the light that LLMs, large language models, got, well, everybody wanted to talk about this. We had to shift a bit our pitch because classical AI is much more efficient in terms of energy consumption efficiency. So that's one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that we want to see more of in the world. But we need to make sure that we leverage the LLMs, and so using those enable so much more. And a lot of our listeners here will relate to the fact that now we can code with LLM. That wasn't the
Yeah.
case back then. We were in a session in a period where we were looking at what could this be done. Am I just getting a translator or an email writer for me? So the exploration didn't seem very compatible with classical AI, and very quickly it became, and that became our offering. And in that first period, basically a lot of companies rose and fell because it was not solid. Prompt engineering was not a real thing.
Hmm.
And becoming an AI expert did require knowledge on actual classical AI as well. So the market eventually stabilized, and that's what we saw, and we benefited from that because we eventually, and we're going to talk about this a bit later, we tailored our offering for the construction industry and built
Right.
Estim.ai. We're working
Right.
in municipal health sector and the manufacturing world all
Hmm.
over. But the truth is, this technology needed to have the stamp of approval of reliability, especially in
Hmm.
the health and manufacturing sector. And that's what we finally got a year later when we could say, yes, LLM, but also the model behind it actually makes
Right.
sense.
Wow. Firstly, 6 strong years. A huge congratulations on everything that you've achieved so far for this industry as well. And then I'd love to take this conversation forward with yes, what we mentioned in the beginning as well. When it comes to construction, estimation challenges remain a major bottleneck, right? So I'd love to understand from your perspective that how does Estim.ai improve estimation accuracy and also impact profitability at the end of the day.
There's, in this industry in particular, and we have tailored it for this industry, but I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. We have a project that a client comes up with. We
Hmm.
want to do this. It should be easy for you. You've done it a couple of times, and you look at the skills you got, the time that it takes usually to make these things, and there's always a tweak here and there. So there's a bit
Hmm.
of customization, and then you want to get a price, but you'll be bidding with against other people. So you want to have a price that is as reliable to what you can make it for, while making a good business for it. Well, that in the construction industry usually mean reading engineering drawings, going through legal document, and applying through RFQs, or actually RFPs. Sorry, the clients that will get those engineering drawings, we're talking of a pile of document that can reach to hundreds of pages. So
Hmm.
they need to comb through it, make sure that they get all the data from it so they get a good understanding of what they're about to suggest for their work offering.
Hmm.
And the first step is what's called a takeoff. This takeoff document basically computes, or it's the outcome of computing all the things that are required to install. If
Hmm.
you're, for example, we've started with the industry of electricity. So think of putting the appliances, putting the light fixture, putting the outlets. All these are things that you need to count in a building. If it's a house, it's fairly straightforward. If it's an office, then it becomes a bit wider. If it's a multi-story office, every little mistake that you make on one floor will scale up. And then you
Hmm.
want to take into account, well, what's the footage of wire that I will need for it? What's the time that I'll install all the equipment with? And are there specific requirements for that construction that is in the legal document? And just to picture this, I'd like to give an example. While we're talking and figuring out what really made sense for our clients, we would be thrown at some example that honestly blew my mind. Uh,
Hmm.
the electricity sector in particular. There's in this smallish town, we had a conversation with a client who knew very well one of his competitors, and he lost a bid for a building. And when he saw, because those are become public, when he saw
Hmm.
the bid, the amount that he bid for, he called him and said, "You know that doesn't work, right?" And the guy agreed. He said, "Yes, I did not think about the fire resistant wiring.
Hmm.
It was a $200,000 mistake."
Oh my
And
God.
he didn't have any choice but to do the work because in this specific case, if you don't go ahead, well, you're going to be blacklisted as a potential service offer. So to prevent, essentially, this kind of product, Estim.ai, the one that we put in the market, not only does it help our client make quick go no go decision. Like, is this a contract for me? If I'm a business that bid on $20,000 project, like, is this something that my business can do? If I'm a company that only do larger projects, I want to make sure that I focus on those. And because we're talking of multi pages document, you'll struggle with this. So this document enables not only the quick go no go, but also the fact that you'll reduce the gap between the offerings because people will make less mistakes, and that's what they want, and that's what the government wants.
Very well articulated. That clarifies and puts a lot of things in perspective. And building on what you've said, Remi, I'd like to give a special message to all of our listeners at this point, specifically to all the the contractors and manufacturers watching. In 2026, your gut feeling on an estimate isn't enough to compete, right? Explore AI has proven through their work with partners in structural and electrical sectors that AI can protect your name by ensuring total precision. Estim.ai is more than just, a software. It's a scalable industrial tool built for the Quebec reality. If you are tired of losing days to technical drawings, visit exploreai.com to see how they can turn your data into the concrete decisions. Don't risk your business on a manual error. Let the machines handle the math so you can handle the build. Now, coming back to you, Rami, I completely agree with everything that you just said, because automating the technical heavy lifting, it allows experts to spend their time on site rather than being buried in paperwork or complex drawings. So that's amazing. um
There,
Next.
there are two,
Yeah.
if I may, there are two big things that, big scenarios where
Uh-huh.
people are happy to use our tool. There are smaller firms, which the estimation is being done by an entrepreneur who is supposed to be doing something else, or if it's one of the owner of the place for smaller shops, what they're
Mhm.
getting out of this product is more time for other priorities or with their families. But the truth is, we also have clients that go through 30,000 offerings per year. So they have a team dedicated to this, and that volume justify a tool such as ours. And just to correct one thing, our product is tailored for the Quebec industry currently, and we are already ready to reach out to the rest of Canada. So we are deploying our efforts in the coming months for Ontario and the rest of Canada.
That's amazing. So happy to hear that. And, we will update all of our listeners as and when, new additions keep happening with Explore AI as well. So that's amazing. Now, Remi, I'd also love for you to educate our listeners about, why niche AI solutions are, outperforming the general existing tools out there in the market, right? So why is niche AI more effective than, the general tools specifically for the small and medium enterprises?
That's a really good question. Actually, there are two main reasons why you'd want to do this. For one thing, the what is called as the blue ocean versus the red ocean. Red
Mhm.
ocean is crowded, lots of shark in there. The idea with niche is that you get your own ocean, or let's call it a lake, where you're the king of that sector because you're really good. In entrepreneurship, we also call this approach beachhead. So you dominate a sector. And when you're really known and good at it, then you can reach out to the other beaches next. So niche allows to cater really specifically to your audience. The the other reason for this is that niche AI provides essentially we're able to use the tools that are given to us through LLMs to go develop things that are prototypes and try out ideas. So we help our clients make those kind of switch and those decision to test out ideas and then become really good at what they do. What we see as well is that people eventually expand, but they start out as niche. And the opposite has been true for companies that have been wide reaching. Now they're tailoring their offer to a
Right.
specific market.
But definitely, I think depth of understanding in a specific sector, like mining or construction, it creates that level of trust and accuracy that general models simply can't match. And while we're on this topic, I'd also want you to quickly touch on, the difference between everyday AI and the advanced operational tools, because for majority of our listeners, um, from a layman's perspective as a business owner, right, uh, explain it from their lens, that how can businesses distinguish between the two on everyday basis.
Sure. This is actually something that gets missed a lot of the time. People say, I want an AI, yeah, one AI to do this.
Yeah.
And one analogy that I like to bring up is that software that is being useful is really like raisin bread. You want to have the whole bread, and what holds it together is the bread, but you're really looking forward to use the raisins in it. And the raisins are being the AI. The AI as a unit will be really good at doing this one thing. And if you want it to do everything, then it'll become mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually it links pretty well with niche AI because having a very specific and tailored application of a tool,
Mm-hmm.
then that means that you're being efficient. You avoid hallucination, which is a term in AI that conveys the meaning that the tool will say confidently things that are not actually true or that are not backed up by evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So having a niche or having a specific tool or advanced tool that does one specific thing means that you're being more efficient and that you avoid error. So quality, it improves quality. For example, AI, think of it as I have a bunch of marbles in front of me, like many, many marbles. There are
Mm-hmm.
different colors, different size, and I want to be able to look and find the one in particular. Your task is to find that green
Mm-hmm.
one that is exactly this size. Well, you will either come through just like when you're doing a puzzle
Mm-hmm.
and one by one check them out. That's going to be exhaustive. Or you're going to try to sort out by SWATs and put the ones in different shapes, the ones in different colors, and eventually you'll get all the ones that are fairly similar, and then you'll get to the nitty gritty work of going
Right.
one by one. So AI is really good at doing the big sorting
Mm-hmm.
and cut out big section of what we call an exploration domain.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look for a specific answer, an optimal answer, and you have to go through a big ensemble of data, like is the case, for example, in medical research, if you want to be finding a new type of medication for your patient that does this one thing, you're going to
Right.
be combing through a large ensemble of data, and you'll want to do the tests, the lab tests, only on the subset that is worthwhile.
Exactly.
So AI is really good for this. But when you want to comb through a big ensemble, let's say that you've got your marbles, you've sorted out the ones that are really big, the ones that are pinkish and bluish, and now you've got
Right.
the green ones, but all sorts of greens and all sort of shapes that are similar. You'll want to move on to other tools, such as combinatorial algorithmics. It's
Mm-hmm.
quite a mouthful, but what it does, it applies mathematics. So it's not probabilities that you do. You
Yeah.
basically have a very clear set of instruction and you go through it one by one in a very efficient manner. So combining AI with tools like this one means that you become very efficient at doing this one task. You first eliminate the options that
Right.
are less likely, and then you comb through the rest. So that's a good way to see how the raisin bread hold together. You want to have some raisins, you want to have some dough that is software,
Right.
and you want to add some, let's say, cinnamon in there
Mm.
that really spice it up.
Definitely. I think that was the best, shortest masterclass, I think, for all of the SMBs out there. Because recognizing, that deep technology is an investment, in infrastructure and not just a shortcut that you're taking, right? It's key to building a durable competitive advantage overall as well. Now, we've talked about what is happening right now. Let's do a little time travel now. Imagine if I were to give you a time machine right now, Remy, and say we were to go 5 or 7 years into the future. When you get out of the time machine, how exactly do you envision AI, changing the construction, the manufacturing industries as well?
I like that question. It's always tricky to say this is going to be one thing, and then 10
Mm-hmm.
years later we're like, oh, that was way off. But let's do a try. So there's this one book that I really recommend to most people. It's called AI 2041, and it goes through 10 scenarios of what the AI future looks like. Not so much as, oh, here's what a technology will look, but literally scenarios of social life
Mm-hmm.
where AI is now embedded, and even a second thought. You don't really, it's not the main focus. It's just AI is there.
Yeah.
And it leverages, basically, it impacts on so many levels, from identification. So biomarkers that you can identify to buy or get access to some services.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a Black Mirror kind of thing. It's basically saying, here is the benefit that it can bring, and here are the ripple effects that it will have on the social fabric.
Mm-hmm.
It goes on, by the last few stories. It'll touch on healthcare. It'll touch on meaning and job. It'll touch on money. So
Mm-hmm.
all of these will be impacted, and how it will be impacted can go veer one way or
Either way,
another.
yeah.
But I'm convinced that we have a huge opportunity right now for entrepreneurship.
Right.
And that opportunity is for niche entrepreneur. It's not so much that people who are not entrepreneurs should identify as being a niche entrepreneur. What I mean by that is, you have something that you're really passionate about, or you have something that you find obvious and other people don't.
Yeah.
This is your niche. And there are people, your people are out there. Do something that you would benefit from it. You leverage the LLMs, make sure that you build something that is either a proof of concept, meaning that it works locally on your computer, not yet accessible to the world. That's a proof of concept. And you're like, hey, I wish more people had that. And then you build something that is
Mm-hmm.
for this narrow field of people, but those are your people. I like this vision, this image, when you're at some festival, and then there's this guy with this poster. It says, "Finally, normal people," because you're all there
Right.
enjoying this one specific music, this one specific theme or whatever.
Right.
These are your people. So find those people. And AI, specifically the large language models right now, the generative AI enables us to quickly get to a small product. And
Mm-hmm.
why is niche so important? Because everything else is a red ocean. It's so
Right.
hard to do all the niche. That's where the opportunity lies. Doing something that caters to everybody. Let the cloud, um, Google, and so on use that and try to do something that will fit for everybody, which won't really, but it'll give you the tool, though, to
Hmm.
build something that is for the majority. So I believe that for every day and for manufacturing, that's what we're going to see. People building
Right.
tools within their companies or within their life. To be honest, that's what I love to do. I'll build tools for myself just to help me go through my tasks, my everyday tasks. They run locally on my computer. They're not very complex, but they're meaningful to me.
Again, a great explanation, and you've painted quite a picture there for the future. I'll definitely mention the link of the book that you've mentioned as well in the description below, so all the audience and listeners can check that out as well. I'm loving this conversation, Remi, and definitely I'd love for you to be back. Hopefully for an in-person episode that we do the next, where we can dive into such deeper conversations. But for now, before we let you go, if there's one final piece of advice that you have for SMEs who are still hesitant to adopt AI, if you could whisper one single thing into their ear, what would you say and why?
Actually, I'll say what somebody told me. The biggest challenge right now is that tools in a company, they don't talk to each other. And that's where the first opportunity lies.
Right.
You might think that's not a job for AI, but you've got data that doesn't speak to each other. And if you want to leverage it and make use of AI, make sure that they're connected, and go see companies such as Explore AI or others that you trust to do that specific work.
Again, a great reminder that the most complex technology is often the simplest to use when it's designed
Absolutely.
for your specific needs, right? Remi, it was such a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you
Likewise.
so much for joining us.
Thank you, Kripa.
All right, that was Remi Dion from Explore.ai, a masterclass, as I said, in applied AI, the evolution of construction estimation, and why niche technology is the key to industrial growth in 2026. To all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and visit CanadianSME.ca for more such resources. To learn more about how we are supporting the ecosystem, please visit the Canadian SME Small Business Foundation at smbfoundation.ca. And lastly, a very special thank you to our partners, UPS and ADP, our HR partner, for their ongoing commitment to empowering SMBs across Canada. I'll see you all in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.